Hello, I am your new favorite, JJ Caballero, joined by the lovely Goins, Casey Goins. And this is MonoStereoVideo, a podcast about movie music. I'm a songwriter, producer, DJ, while Casey is an amazing hairstylist and salon owner. And we love movies and music, and this is the perfect excuse to talk about music and movies and their cultural impact. I already asked you this, but how's it going, my love? So that the listeners can hear. How you doing?
Very good.
Work was it? I mean, you got home early today.
Yeah, today wasn't a super
Cool.
crazy day. But yeah, because I'm like, every day I don't want to be like exhausted.
Yeah. You've been busy. Mm-hmm. You've been very busy. We've been very busy, guys. We just got back from Phoenix. I mean, it feels like we just got back from Phoenix, but we've been back from Phoenix for a couple of days. But like,
Yeah, I mean, because it was just like work,
still go.
come back, work. So
yeah, it's just been, like the weekend, I was so exhausted. I was so exhausted on the weekend.
Yep.
My body was just not having it. It was not having it. But thank you guys for being patient last week, because I did have a monster of the week it just sounded like shit. It just sounded like total caca, total garbage. That's why I reposted the Tron episode. Had a few downloads. Tron episode is one of my favorites. The Tron Legacy episode. The one where we talk about the Daft Punk soundtrack and such. So if you want to check that out, go ahead, go back, check it out. I posted it last week. This week, we are talking about the Little Richard documentary. I Am Everything, Little Richard, directed by Lisa Cortes. Good movie, brought to you by HBO and CNN.
Max.
It's Max. That's right. It's Max.
It's like not HBO anymore.
So,
Oh, it was so good.
It is so good.
I always cry.
Yeah,
It just makes me cry.
I wanted to bring something up before, though. So first, thank you guys for listening to the episodes. Thank you guys for sharing. For those of you who have been sharing, thank you guys who have also gone to the Depop. The Depop is popping off.
Cool.
Yeah, I have very reasonable. It's used physical media. There's some scuffs on certain things. A lot of the stuff I sell, though, like, CDs, if they're a little bit scuffed, you can rip them into your computer, have the audio file there. It's yours. It's physical. You're not just streaming it off of some, like, random website that you don't even control, and you only pay, like, $15 a month, and yada-da-da-da. You can have the CD for a few bucks, $5, $6, $3. But the Depop, I posted the 3-pack of the zombie thing today, and boom, it flew off the shelf. The shelf. Yeah, right away, boom, somebody was there. It's been pretty cool. With every order, you get a MonoStereoVideo sticker, and you get a JJ Caballero sticker, and a little card, so you can download my EP for free.
Cool.
You can check that out. But thank you guys for those of you who have purchased. Maybe there's some of you who've maybe purchased and like you're listening, because I do have the link of the podcast on the Depop shop. Maybe you're doing it that way. Welcome. We talk about movie music. It's a good time. We have a good time here. So I wanted to say that first, and to also bring up this. Like, when you were getting ready, I read this, and it has nothing to do with anything that we're discussing today. It's just about music. A lab-grown brain made of a late composer's blood cells creates new music posthumously. So there's this avant-garde composer, Alvin Lucier, who died in 2021. He passed away of 2021. Complications related to a fall, because he was already, he was much older. He was 89. He donated some of his blood to this organization in Australia that put on like an exhibition that's like a live musical performance. So they like essentially lab grew a brain from some of his cells and other things, and it's like this blob, and like the electrodes on this blob create music and like percussive things, and it's a whole thing. It was in Perth. It's the Western Australia's Revivification Project in Perth. What do you think about this? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like,
That's weird, right? Or I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
There's so many things they're doing that we don't even know about. Like, you know what I mean? Like
that made me think of the whole idea, the mushroom documentary that we were watching, where it's all myopic, like everything's connected through like the vine. It's like their veins, and like that's how they communicate, and it's a whole network. And that's kind of what like made me think about, like, I read this and it made me kind of think of that. Like, it's just like this developing membrane, but like, is it him? You know what I mean? Like, is he reborn? You know what I mean? Like, I
don't feel like a reborn. It's like it's a new version.
Is it the substance?
It's like a new copy. It's a new, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Mickey 17, it's a new copy. Yeah. Like, it's just a clone. Not it's just a clone, but it's a different
It's
thing.
a different type of, it's like one of the Ripleys, like one of like in the bubble, in the things. Yeah. But I thought that, I don't know, I just saw that and I was like, oh, this has nothing to do with the podcast or anything, but it has to do something with music. So I don't, it was on djmag.com. I'll post that article. I'll post that article in the show notes as well. Oh man, let's get back to this Little Richard documentary. Little Richard, I Am Everything came out in 2023, so fairly recently. It premiered at Sundance, and then it was like shown on CNN, and that's how we saw it after on Max.
Yeah.
This is the second time watching it. Awesome.
So good.
So good.
Yeah. So sad.
It's very sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
What is your prior relationship to Little Richard?
I mean, I grew up around a lot of like old school Mexicans and cholos and stuff. So like oldies were always playing. And I remember hearing Little Richard all the time. Like, I remember it, like, I was familiar. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't necessarily know like anything about him, but I knew he was the crazy man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I was just like, oh, that's the crazy man.
Yeah.
Like, and not crazy in a bad way.
No.
Like, his hair was different and he was loud and he was colorful and like, I knew I liked it. Like,
I remember him from like, he was just in, especially growing up in like the 80s and 90s, like the 90s.
I remembered that the look of him from the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
That's how I always like saw him in my head, like with his Jerry curl and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him from like,
and glittery.
Of course,
suits.
I was as a little kid watching, like, addicted to 90s TV. I saw his appearances on like when they showed him on Full House. I saw him on Full House. Pee-wee's Playhouse. I saw him on Pee-wee's Playhouse. Yeah. Like, he, even on like the daytime shows, cause like, you know, there'd be days where, oh, I'm sick, I gotta stay home at my grandma's, and she's watching the daytime shows, and he's there. But even at that, when you get off of school, what, like 2:45 maybe when we were kids, like it was pretty early, so it was like he'd be on like midday TV just being interviewed about something at award shows, because my family's very of the MTV generation, I think, so like we always watched that shit, like, you know, and he was always around. And Tutti Frutti, everybody knew that. The Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, really?
The Brave Little Toaster is my introduction to that song.
That's hilarious. Just knowing where the lyrics started.
Yes.
And that it's
The Brave Little Toaster.
Funny.
Yep.
That is really funny.
Disney's The Brave Little Toaster, which is a very sad movie as well. I haven't seen it in many years, but I'm sure I can totally remember scenes.
Yeah, that movie is,
Yeah. I don't know if it's on Disney Plus.
That movie reminds me a lot of The Page Master. I don't know why, but it does. Movie. Like, the drawing kind of is similar to me, and just how it was a dark story. And I had that on VHS and I watched it a lot. Like that, like how you saw other Macaulay Culkin, like you were Home Alone, I was Page Master Macaulay Culkin. Like that's what I remember.
I didn't see it until like it was on video when I was in school one day, and I remember like the previews and like, oh man,
I loved it because it was books and I was always reading, and I was like, how cool! Like I never saw a movie that was like about books.
I was always You were into Wishbone. Like, I was always into
I loved Wishbone.
those shows where it was like guys,
like
let's go inside the book.
You didn't make you like you weren't weird because you like to read.
Yeah.
Like I was the only person that was reading that I knew, like that was my family. And so I felt like, oh, like, you know what I mean? And that those things where I loved PBS. Like that was my shit.
I don't know if I've told this to you. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast. But when I was like a kindergartner and like a first grader, like before I knew how to read, I pretended to know how to read. And like I remember being there and they had a little reading corner, like, and I remember grabbing chapter books and being like, ha 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 ha.
Oh my god!
I remember that distinctly. I remember
You're like,
that.
they'll never catch on.
Yeah, like I mean, they knew. They fucking knew. I was a little actor.
Do that. Oh my god!
But that influenced me on like, okay, you gotta be a reader.
Okay, now you're gonna actually do it.
Yeah. And I like it. I am a very slow reader, though, as you can attest. I read fucking slow. I do like to read a lot.
Yeah.
But I read very slow.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I never considered myself or thought or whatever that I was a fast reader.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, I guess I am.
Yeah, you beat me all the time. Motherfucker. But yeah, I always love those. I was like, but just to get, I guess, bring it back to, Little Richard has kind of always been in the culture. And that's pretty much the main crux of this documentary, is that rock and roll came from him. He was always around. And it's like he's kind of like, so interstitially between interviews. So this is a documentary, right? And it's more of a traditional documentary. Last week we talked about, or last time we talked about Moon Age Daydream. And that was like a more kaleidoscope type of thing.
Yeah, that one was more abstract. And this was like the actual like historians,
yes,
family members, crew members,
yes,
ex-spouses, like there was people that knew and were there. Like that was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like his bandmates that showed up were like they I mean, everybody spoke very highly of him. Yeah. Everybody like loved
nobody
him.
had a bad thing to say. No. Nobody had a bad thing to say about him.
No, it was it was very. He was well loved, and it I mean, it goes into a lot of stuff, but it is, like Casey said, it's a more traditional documentary. Tells the story, talks to the people that were there. Everybody loved him. Shows footage from certain things, but interspersed with that, it's like
live performances.
There's live performances that are like bathed in like this glittery dust.
Yeah. I liked that. Yeah. Like all the or when it would show like a spark of something, and it was like that glitter.
Yes. And I read this Guardian article, like a Guardian review about this, and their interpretation was like, that's like creation, because he created it. Like that's
the spark.
We are all stardust, and he as Carl Sagan said, but. Like we came, like everything came from him, and that's why it's like this is like, and every time like it was like a new song or a new version of him that somebody would play the song that was that new version of him, it would bloom and you'd see the dust. That was cool. That was a cool way to like break up the sections of his life.
Like this artist? Yeah. Well, that's where they got this from. Or you you like this artist? Well, they liked this. Yeah. Like
he was. That is like also a main thing on this is that he wasn't given his due for a very, very long time. Like very.
I mean, he just wasn't given his due. Like even them doing that last thing at the very end, like that was too little, too late.
A lot of it was too little, too late. It was
too little, too late. Even just hearing him give his speech for winning that award. There was where he was speaking and he was even mentioning about how. I'm so glad that, who was it that gave him
Dick Clark.
I'm so glad Dick Clark had the wherewithal to give this to me while I'm still living.
I'm still here, yeah.
And the crowd kind of like chuckled at it. But it's like, he wasn't being funny. No. Like, he wasn't being funny at all. Yeah. And you even saw, like, the pause for a second where he's just like, these motherfuckers. And then he kept on talking. That's why, like, I remember the whole shut up thing. Like, that's how I remember him. Everything was, and I thought it was funny. And now I see more of, like, that was all he could do to get the jab in. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was his fuck you. every time. Like, he wasn't saying shut up, he was saying fuck you.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's infuriating.
It
like
is.
just like learning all these things that you didn't know and then just hearing historians talk about all the stuff too. And like, there are lots of people asking him like, aren't you scared they're gonna come after you? Aren't you scared of this? And it's not like he wasn't, but it was just like, I'm a performer, like, and I'm gonna perform,
Yes.
and this is how I want to do it.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna be loud, and I'm gonna be vibrant and in your face, and like and people couldn't help but love it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
That wasn't a wild aspect of it, in that he believed that his queerness gave him a pass
yeah.
to
Like, oh, the white people aren't gonna like
They're not gonna be
feel me as a
scared.
threat.
Yes.
They're gonna be like, oh, it's just a sissy boy. Like, who cares?
And it does make some kind of
It
sense.
does make sense.
But it also doesn't for the time. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, there is the hate. Like, so going back to it, little Richard Penniman grew up in Macon, Georgia. Macon, Georgia. One of 12. One of 12. Or did he say he had 12 brothers and sisters? Is that what it was?
He had 11 brothers and
11
sisters.
brothers and sisters and 12 of him. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of them.
And wasn't he the only no, that's not true.
I don't think so. No,
That's not true.
he had brothers and such.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he was born. I mean, he was born queer. He was gay, and he was born like with like some limbs that were shorter, a little
like
shorter
a little,
and stuff.
not fully grown,
Yeah,
or
not
like,
fully.
And it wasn't anything like super crazy noticeable. Like,
He made it more like I grew up crippled, like,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, not really, but okay, like
Yeah.
we'll give that to you because that does happen, but like. I mean, it was somewhat noticeable.
I feel like
guess.
it was more of a thing that got drilled into him that he was
Yeah.
crippled, and not necessarily
Yeah.
that he felt crippled, because obviously, like, he was moving and dancing and doing all the stuff and playing the piano. Like, it didn't affect his ability to
Yeah.
play. But I feel like it was drilled into him, especially like how they describe his dad and stuff.
Yeah, his father sold hooch, and he had a ministry and a nightclub. Or no,
And
he had a
just all
nightclub
of that,
and,
like,
and
mixed
sold
together,
hooch, and,
hearing that,
he
like,
was
the
part of the church,
duality of the, I'm gonna pray during the day and I'm gonna sin at night, like, and how he kept having that circular, like, I'm gonna go to hell, like, I can't do this,
Yeah.
and like shun away from who he was, and like, that made me so sad for him.
It's a sad existence. I mean, that's just that at the time. I mean, he grew up in like the 30, right? It was like the 33 or something like that. And it's like here, let me double check.
Or
when he was
even like
born.
just hearing like
1932.
his father like kicking him out, like,
He grew up queer, so he was kicked out when he was younger because it was gay. He took refuge. I'm gonna get this right in a nightclub. It was like Annie's TikTok, something like that. Yeah, Annie's TikTok. It was like kind of the secret gay club. You know, it was the secret. They'd have drag shows and stuff. Performed in drag as Princess Levon. That was his drag name. But he grew up on like around a bunch of queer performers. They described it as one of those places that like he'd be hanging around with those big black women with gold teeth, just singing raunchy ass songs, playing the guitar, like singing the blues. But he also grew up like Macon, Georgia, with a very conservative Baptist community.
Yeah.
So he grew up with that music, and he did as a kid. He was in the choir. He describes himself as like, you had to shut me up. I wouldn't. Or
yeah,
if
they
you
didn't want to let him sing because then he was going to sing too much.
I was going to sing too much. But yeah, he toured the Chitlin circuit. He went, all the minstrel shows from like Florida, Alabama. Teamed up with snake oil. Snake oil salesman. He would do some performances on from that guy. What was the guy's name? Something. I wrote it down here, but I didn't write it down. Damn it. Either way, he made the runs in the Chitlin circuit and the minstrel shows, which is wild. Like, just that he died in 2020 and he grew up when he grew up. And he was like the history of rock and roll music before rock and roll, like when it was Tin Pan Alley, when it was like right after the jazz movement, when it was like the Chitlin Circuit, when it was blues evolving into rhythm and blues, which was just rock and roll, but it was black. You know what I mean? And like he evolved with it. That's what blew my mind, was how old he actually was.
Yeah.
You know, because in the 90s, I mean, he was, I mean, you didn't see him much later in his life, I guess. Like he did age, but like it kind of encroached on him for sure. But it's just, he was around for so much of the history of stuff that I learned in school. You know what I mean? Like so much, I mean, modern English, I mean, modern recorded music I'm talking about. Like the stuff that I learned from my intro to studio stuff, like the documentaries that we watched, he was there. He was the undercurrent of it all. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, that's crazy. He was openly gay, which was crazy also. Like
I think they emphasized that it was just like a known thing.
Yeah.
And then he would say it in interviews, but it wasn't anything like he didn't feel like he needed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, I am what I am, and like, and even at one point he had said like, if you knocked on my door, I wasn't gonna refuse. So I don't feel like he was necessarily like gay either. I feel like he was like pansexual.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
true.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you're true.
I feel like if anything, it was more of that, because it's like he even said it himself. Like if I wanted it, you're getting it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, there you go. Like, so I feel like that's why it was more of like, I don't want to say specific, because then I'm gonna exclude myself from all these other options that I could possibly have.
His mentors were a performer named Billy Wright, who we met in Atlanta, who was openly gay, and also Esquerita. Esquerita was who he got his hair from. Big old pompadour Esquerita. That's pretty cool. Esquerita is the dude that taught him how to play the piano.
Yeah.
The movie opens up with him playing like piano and just fucking rocking out. Watching him play piano, I'm like, damn, your finger, it looks like it hurts. It looked like
it's just like bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. He had a whole style too. They talked about how he did boogie woogie with his left hand, which is like that dun 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 dun, like that old school. Like you had to. It's a motion. It's a motion. It's a pattern. It's a set of patterns. It's a style. And then he was just doing like crazy hard shit with his right hand. Like that was the foundation of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like just keeping a steady rhythm and then rocking out like with your right hand. Like I don't know. That was real cool. That was real cool. Let's see. His first band was Little Richard and the Upsetters. This is like one of the first ones I'm going off my notes. He met Charles Connor on drums. We see Charles Connor. There's a lot of people who we see and like who are in and out of his life, and his bandmates all seemed like they loved him.
Yeah, and everybody looked good. Nobody was frail, and like everybody was still like they were kicking.
Yeah,
like,
everybody was still.
Yeah.
That was amazing. It was amazing to see. Yeah, it was amazing to see. Let's see. He made a demo. Ran into Art Roop and Bumps or sent his demo to Art Roop and Bumps Blackwell. They tried to push him into like a box of things, and he kind of just he knew that he had something and he just wanted to show it.
Yeah.
You know, and his first records, like it was a cool story that they were in New Orleans trying to get him to record something. It was like kind of, they were just kind of keeping him basic type of rhythm and blues record.
And then he went and performed at the little club next door. They were like, oh, okay, we're taking a break. And he was like, okay. And
he
saw the piano next door. And
And Bina look at me. He had to go play it and had to go fucking played Tutti Frutti. Played Tutti Frutti. They talked to that lady that reworked the lyrics.
She's like, oh, dirty, filthy. Dirty. But I was like, that's so crazy to not know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's about anal sex. It's originally about anal sex. We talked about it on
because of Velvet Goldmine. They show the scene where he's singing the actual lyrics. He's singing Good Booty.
Good booty. That's a cute little scene. That's fucking fun. I always think about that shit. But that's how he blew up off of that song. His music. I didn't want to bring up that too. Like, we learned about this a lot in school. Was about like that time period where it was like black music was played on black stations. They were race records. That's exactly what they were called, race records. He talked about how they would do so many shows a day, but because one show was for the white kids, one show was for the black kids, one show was for the white kids, like it was still a segregated country.
Yeah, and then how they would say like, yeah, the white kids would still go to the black kids show because it was funner, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like, the black kids couldn't go
to the
during a white show.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, that shit's still fucking happening.
I mean, they want that to happen more often.
Like everything they were talking about, I'm like, that's still fucking happening.
Yeah.
Like, still.
Yeah.
Like, what has really changed?
Yeah, very much so. Even what I was gonna get to, so a lot of it was like, we had whole classes worth of talk about like cultural appropriation, because that's mainly the reason that this fool didn't get his due, was because he was consistently appropriated. So I mean, the white kids back, like everybody wanted to do rock and roll, like that. Just back in the day, the kids, like he made music for teens before there were teenagers. And the term teenagers came like post it because of rock and roll music. The term teenagers sprouted out of rock and roll itself, as a movement, I guess, or as like a label for like what the the 13, 14, 15, like what they were. It's a countercultural movement. It's people like pushing out against their parents and like the conservative, whatever you have it, like that had to be around of the time. And like in this post, kind of during World Wars and during World War II and post World War II, everybody was horny. Everybody was horny. And like, that's where the baby boom came from, post World War II. Like, it's just, it all sprouted from that. But things were still, like, racism still fucking existed. And like of course, like the white man had to take it over. Like, it had to be like, well, okay, we love these songs. Let's have Elvis play this.
Yeah.
Let's have
and then
Pat
listening
Boone
to
play
all
this.
the other ones, like it's like that sounds stupid.
Yes.
It sounds stupid when you do it.
Yes. So like that kind of translates now to like, it's weird because like Eminem is such a weird case, right? But Eminem, Marshall Mathers, like when he came out, like he's a good rapper. He's good. And it's like, it's a weird, I mean, even me, I'm light-skinned Mexican. I'm a white Mexican, I guess. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, there's no white bone in my body. I mean, I guess, I don't know what bones aren't white. I don't know, unless you bleach them. I don't fucking know. But like I rap, right? And like, am I culturally appropriating? Like, it's a weird thing, I guess. But for sure, Eminem is like a branch off of that, right? Like, that still happens. Or like, Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice is a appropriator, right? Like, it still happens. It still happens because they got super successful. They probably had better record deals than a lot of the dudes that they were like influenced by and such like that. Like, the pay gap was probably still wide. Back in the day too. So Little Richard didn't really make money off of this stuff either.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. I'm sure Elvis did.
Like,
I'm sure Pat
he
Boone
didn't make anything after you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, while he was doing and working and whatever,
Yes,
he made the money.
he worked.
but it wasn't like, oh, they're playing your song on this, you're gonna get money. They're playing your song over here, you're gonna get money. Like, he didn't get none of that.
Because
like,
back in that day,
none of that.
I have this book here called Hitmen, and it talks about that. It talks about not just the appropriation from the artistic side, but the parasites that come with the music industry and how it evolved, and how like it's parasitic in that these old white men saw like, oh man, these young black dudes are making this amazing music. Let's get them right away. Let's get all the rights to all these songs and what have you. I'll pay you $500.
Let's give them a big chunk of money they've never seen before.
And then I have the rest of their career. Let me give them... there's many dudes that got a car and a house. Yeah. And that's what they got. That's all they got. That's all they got.
That's all they want.
Music.
They needed it, and they were happy with that.
They took advantage of that. Many people took advantage of that situation.
Yep.
Still happens to this day.
Yep.
Still happens to this day amongst all... honestly, that's kind of the problem with the music business still. But it evolved from that. And like Little Richard, as influential as he was, as many people, they talked to Mick Jagger on this. Mick Jagger's actually like the first like person that pops up on screen that's not Little Richard, like the artist. The Rolling Stones toured with Little Richard. They opened for him. Mick Jagger even talks about how his moves, how Little Richard's actions, and watching him day after day for 30. He's like, he was even like excited. I saw Little Richard 30 times.
33 times.
33 times. He was so stoked on it still. He was like, I saw Little Richard 33 times. But like watching him from the side stage and seeing the things that he did and the way he expressed himself influenced Mick Jagger, who has gone on to influence like so many artists, many artists themselves, the Rolling Stones themselves, the Beatles. My ultimate, one of my ultimates, like they completely took from Little Richard, and they met him, they got to know him, he took them to Hamburg, and that's what's insane too. Like, I didn't know that he took them to Hamburg, because everybody talks about, like, every Beatle fan talks about Hamburg as like, this is where they became the Beatles. This is where they did their reps. They worked out and they learned how to become a badass band, and they built up their blah blah blah.
And it was because of that.
And it was because of Little Richard. It was because Little Richard brought them to Hamburg, and he's like, fuck it, we're going to Germany. Let's go fuck around. And they he taught Paul McCartney how to do the woo, and that's like. Paul McCartney was the guy that did that. Like, it's just part of his oeuvre. I mean, even in music, that like he does that shit still today. You know, he still does a woo. John Waters talks about his
I love
the mustache.
It. John Waters. I feel like John Waters was like he was a fan, and he appreciated.
Super fan.
And he didn't do anything to profit off of him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was a fan.
Yes. Yeah, they talked to John Waters because he was a legit fan.
He was a fan.
He was
like,
a legit
I
fan.
have this mustache because I loved Little Richard's mustache.
Yeah.
Like, and we're gonna see him on Friday.
I know, that's pretty cool. We're gonna see John Waters on Friday. He's coming to Las Cruces, and we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Alfred. Shout out Mark and Alfred.
I'm sure they probably got the meet and greet and everything.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they helped throw it, because Alfred was like promoting that, or he posted messages about, hey, this is happening, and that it was like, if you got the VIP, they're doing this. I mean, they probably got the VIP, and he's just relaying the message.
Yeah.
He's a very nice guy like that. He's like a tia. Like, Alfred is a total. Oh my god, that just clicked in my head. There's some things I'm like, they like to they're very like loving, and like they're his posts are very like, as fangirls, like, you know what I mean? Like, because I fangirl, right? But like, I don't fangirl like that.
Yeah.
Like I gush, but I don't like they purchased the thing. They're very tias. I just like, shout out to Mark and Alfred. Shout out to them. I don't know if they ever listen to this, but like, I don't know. Like, they're good friends, good people, fellow movie lovers. Total. I should get them on the podcast. We should talk to them. That'd be fun. Like, we should talk to them about something. I don't know. I wonder, Maybe a John Waters movie. Maybe Hairspray. Ooh.
I'm sure there's something else they like better than
I know,
Hairspray.
there's probably something else. Maybe, but it's about soundtracks, like it's about movie music. I don't know. We'll see. Either way. John Waters. He talked about how he saw him when he was younger as well too. He was super stoked to see him. That he would steal his records.
He was like, I stole a lot of records, and I stole a lot of Little Richard records.
Yeah. He talked about that. That was pretty cool. Our favorite, David Bowie. Niles Rogers talks about how David Bowie held up a Little Richard record and was like, I want... So he was it... No, what was it? Let's Dance? He wanted Let's Dance to sound... He's like, I want it to sound like this.
I want my next record to sound like this.
Yeah, I want my next record to sound like this. Yeah. That was pretty cool. So I didn't, like... Now that it flashed to, like, some clips of David Bowie during that tour, and, like, now that I see it, it's like the... You know what I mean? You see the pompadour, you see the hair and the suit, and just very old school Little Richard look. Yeah. For that whole tour, so that was pretty cool. I what I liked too was like how his bandmates were like down, like. Oh yeah, he had his dressing all stylish. They all had their little compacts.
He's like one of them. How he was like, I had sex with blah 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 women, like however many women.
Yeah, I had sex over 1,000 women or some shit like that.
And they were like, he's doing something right. Yeah. Like all the girls are flocking up with that makeup on. I don't care.
Yeah, I like. So there were Casey said there were periods in his life when he went back to the church and denounced his queerness and tried to repent for his sins, I guess you could say. And one of the dudes he met became like a road manager with him when he went to the Jesuit school, right? And like that dude was like, yeah. Like he was super like kind of straight edge a little bit. But then it's funny because they don't really say it, but then it like it's like the name of him. And, like, the title they gave him, like, oh, you know, he went to school with him. And then later on in the documentary, they show the dude, they show his name, and then it's, like, tour manager. It's like, oh, he like, met him, and he's like, come along for the ride, fuck it.
That's why he helped everybody. Yeah. Like, one person that he paid their rent for years and years and years and never said anything.
That woman that he was in love with, that he asked to marry her when she was younger and such like that.
His wife.
No, not that.
No, it was a different person.
It was a different lady, yeah, that he paid her rent. He was just that guy. He was that guy. And they talk about how... Oh, man, I'm kind of going everywhere. But this is kind of leading to that. Like, he did that because they talk about surviving as a queer person. And
you make your own family.
You build your own family. Yes, and that's very true. That is very true. Like... he always had his own community because his family shunned him. Later on in life, when he started doing hits, like his dad welcomed him back into the house and was like all proud and shit like that or whatever. But not a lot of people are afforded that, right? So you do have to establish like, okay, we have to have this. This is our family. These are the people I'm taking care of. His bandmates were like, yeah, he would call my mom. He would follow up with her. Like, he always did this for me. And, who does that? Who does that
Or
anymore?
just hearing from different people in a different way. Like, they're always like, I've never met somebody so real.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's wild because he was just so larger than life. But he was authentically that's who he was. You know, even in those tamed down interviews when he's...
Yeah, like it wasn't... He's like, this is just me. Yeah. Like, I'm not putting on a show for you. Like, this is me.
Yeah. Even when he was more straight acting, right? Straight presenting and stuff. Like, he was still, like... He still had to be on a stage.
Yeah.
Like, he still had to be in front of...
I'm still a theater kid.
He still had to sing. Like, he's put out gospel albums. Like, he still... had to perform. That was still a part of who he was. And like they talk about how it's like that like duality and like how it's like it's kind of like a bubbling within it, like his central core struggle was that
he would do it and then become so unhappy and then go back to what made him happy and then feel bad about it all over again.
Yep.
So sad.
Right. And it's just you think about that, guys, because it's still around. Like, guys, Christianity has won. Like, don't get it twisted. There's people out there that are like, oh, they're attacking Christians. No one believes in God anymore. Da 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 da. Oh, that's Satanism. There's so many Satanists. People say that shit everywhere.
Like,
no,
that's not real.
That's not real. Like, Christianity has won.
Like, that's not real.
It is one
man-made
to a detrimental degree. It is one to a detrimental degree, in that there are, I'm sure, quite a bit of closeted Christians out there who cannot actually be themselves, who cannot actually come out to their family because of their religious beliefs. And this is a prime example of, like, that struggle on display.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what was also pretty cool about this movie. Lisa Cortes, she began her career at Def Jam and Rush Productions Management. Oh, okay, cool. So she began her career like in the Def Jam universe. And then she directed some film. She went to the Film Academy. She directed a documentary called All In, The Fight for Democracy, the one that it followed Stacey Abrams as she was trying to get people to vote for Joe Biden. She directed a documentary called The Remix about hip-hop fashion. Let's see. I think the All In one is like her most recent one. I don't think, and that's probably the one that we would recognize the most. She hasn't done very many aside from that. Let me see. Yeah, no, but it did. So this documentary was nominated for a Peabody Award, a Grammy Award for Best Music Film, a Dorian Award for the LGBTQ Documentary of the Year, and it was also in the 2023 Washington, D.C. Area Film Critics Association Award for Best Documentary. It was nominated for all that stuff. I don't know. It's just like...
It was very well made.
Yes.
And very purposeful. Like, everything that was said was purposeful. And she talked to scholars, like, people, like, that have done the research, that had, like, delved into the history, like, and were queer themselves. You know what I mean? Like...
The doctor how she was like, queerness was the South, or queerness was born in the South, and like how it's just meant like an oddness, but then it's like with the sexuality and it's bold and it's big, and it's the dichotomy, it's the weirdness of how the pretty much like hardcore Christian conservative Bible Belt, like how that's all like how it all centers in the South, but it's also super gay.
Yeah.
Like it's also even with like it even reflects on like Southern senators. Like there's a Senator Lindsey Graham, and he talks like this, and but he's like, but we gotta. I don't know why gays are married, and you know what I mean. It's shit like that. Like it's that fucking.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's what it is. They're just being like, it's the guilt, it's the shame, and it's just like, if you weren't so worried about what people that don't love you think, instead of being with the community, like, and just being out there, and like, imagine how much happier, like, you know what I mean?
I mean, he would sell Bibles, he did like revival type shows and stuff, and then he'd fucking get over it and be like, no, let's go back on tour, let's go, I'm gonna be bigger this time, I'm gonna get my when he would
my glitter,
get my there was a festival where Janis Joplin was just kicking ass, and he's like, give me my what was it, wasn't the glitter, it was my mirror suit,
my mirror suit, and that he just like killed it, and that Janis Joplin was like beside herself because like she had stolen the show, and he's like, nah, right?
Yeah, and he's like, no, me,
I'm gonna steal the show,
me.
Or even how like when on that other tour he was on, how he was an opener, and by the end of the tour he was the fucking headliner because nobody wanted to play after him.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't want to play after that. Like, are you kidding me?
He was rock and roll. Like his performances, he was sweaty as fuck. His hair all mess, took off his shirt, was just on dripping. Just like everybody's jumping up and down, causing riots, stuff like that. Like punk rock as fuck.
Yeah.
Like super punk rock.
Yeah.
And it all like that was also the main crux of the film, was that rock and roll developed from this queer black man from the South. And it's just, and that's awesome.
Yep.
Like, I think that's amazing. Like, and it's, you know, it's not centralized in it. It's like,
but it's just crazy, like, thinking back on it now, because I always felt like other, and like, because I liked rock music,
Right.
and I didn't see myself reflected back in rock music. I felt like, you know what I mean? Like, just I was a product of my environment, but then you realize and you learn all these things, and it's like, no, they stole that. Like, that was not, you know what I mean? I couldn't not like it because I wasn't white. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
right.
Like, that's just crazy.
It's weird, like, because it is also that, like, there's not a lot of, like, us growing up. It was all a bunch of white dudes. It was fucking
Just white dudes.
Jonathan Davis, fucking who else?
Fred
Durst, Steven Tyler, and you know what I mean? Like, those were the rock guys, and like that's our age. You know what I mean? The rock and roll, the Kurt Cobain. But I mean, there was the Chino Moreno. I mean, there was Chino, like, but I mean, that was kind of like, I don't know, but it's. Yeah, it was that. It had rock and roll, for whatever it is, had been taken by that. And I guess, like, everything, like, it's weird. It's weird. It's weird because a lot of rock and roll has always been like a countercultural thing, right? Or it's also like hair metal, right? Like, in those days, like, super femme, but still that was an expression of masculinity somehow. That was a bit confused, but it's still like I mean, Motley Crue is still hard as fuck, and they basically dressed in drag. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
That was influenced by Little Richard. You know, that was taken from, like, that's Little Richard did that first. He did that shit first, and like, I don't know, it's a weird thing because there is the macho-ness to certain things. There is the grabbing your balls and I'm gonna go fuck the woman in the tour bus. Yeah. There's that. There's the Godsmack voice of it. But then, like, I don't know, man. Like, people just forget where it comes from, and he didn't get his due. And in this day and age, giving people their due and acknowledging that opens up a better understanding of, or for me as a musician, right, as somebody that does play rock and roll stuff, right, like, it does open up the possibilities, right? Because I guess I'm going off on a tangent here, but like, growing up, right? Like, I did like that. I love the Chili Peppers, like, super dudes, right? But you know, they were wacky, their dicks in the socks and all that shit, whatever, colorful. The dude had, like, Anthony had long hair, all that stuff, right? And then it was like Korn, and it was like it got more aggressive and stuff, and but it was, you know, if there was an artist that was a little more flamboyant or a little more, like, softer, like, even, you know, I even had, like, uncles be like, you think Anthony Kiedis is gay, bro? Because he had long hair. You know, like, there's still that. There was still that ingrained in how I grew up.
Especially, like, with Marilyn Manson. It was just like,
yes. Oh, he sucks his own dick. That was the thing. He removed ribs so that he could suck his own dick. That was the rumor.
My goodness.
Right. Which, like, if he did, shit, I'm sure he's having the time of his life, fucking sucking your own dick, man.
Right?
Man, that's hardcore. But I digress. Like, it's that, like, I didn't grow up with. It wasn't until I started learning who David Bowie was. It wasn't until I started learning that, there's some weirdness between, like, David Bowie and Iggy Pop and these more glam rockers, and, like, it wasn't until that that I knew that there was, like, a queerness to rock and roll, I guess, you know, like, and I always saw it as, like, when I started making music, I wanted to make, like, lovey songs and, like, pop punk and stuff, but make it, like, about, like, girls and you know what I mean, things like that. But it was also, like, it wasn't like I wasn't tough for like, you know what I mean? Like I always felt like it was like a disadvantage because I was doing that, you know, when it's like, nah, like because this was established by this Black queer, like, if you would, I don't know, I guess I'm saying like if I would have known the foundations, it would have allowed me to be more freely expressive of my ideas when I was growing up and expressing myself as a musician. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is like suppressed. It's like a suppression of it. I don't know why. Like, just to keep gay people in the shadows, I guess. Yep. Yeah. That sucks. Yep. Yeah. But I'm glad this came out now. I'm glad I got to display him. I
hope more people watch it. Like, it's a really good, especially if you grew up during that generation. Like, you know?
Yeah. It was just very heartening because this was a warts and all documentary. Because yes, like when he did denounce his gayness, he was hardcore about it. Like, and it was like towards the end of his life too. It was like, I'm not being gay. Like that it's a sin, you know, like that it's you know, this and that, and that's very hard to hear, and that's very damaging to the community. So it is a warts and all documentary. But in other warts and all I don't know, this wasn't done with it. Like, everybody still talked about it lovingly. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's still well loved. It is, we got to talk about that, or we got to address that. He did that and he hurt the community like that. But we still love him for what he did to pioneer for us, you know, or to pioneer for that.
And it's like, it's not ever one person's like burden to bear. Right. Like, he was trying to survive. He was trying to, very much you know what I mean? Yes. Like, he was surviving. And he was helping out who he could, you know what I mean? And he did, you know?
Yeah.
So that made me feel bad when, like, one of the scholars had said about how that he didn't really speak up for the community. And it's like, well, yeah, but like he was trying to figure it out too. Like he didn't know he was a beacon in that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like
he was just him, and he just wanted to shine as himself. Yes, yes, exactly. He was just making music. Yeah.
So it's like, it's unfair to put that burden on one person just because. You know what I mean? Like,
especially like how he grew up and how he learned how to survive,
and like, what the time he grew up in. Like, that wasn't something like you feel like you're gonna go to hell and burn. Like, you know what I mean?
Or you're gonna get strung up by some fucking
like
cracker.
Someone's gonna lynch you. Like, you know, like that's what he's worried about.
Yeah, like it's not. We can't look at that with 2025 eyes. Yeah, you know, we can't look at that with these eyes. Like. I mean, okay, we can at points. Like, there are things that we can look at with those eyes and be like, well, you know, maybe this and that. But you do have to understand it from that time and that point of view. Like, yeah, like it was like, and I'm, you know, it's more from like the queer perspective, because it's not. How can I say it? I don't know. There was just more struggle back then. Like, there was just more like that was what they want to take us back to now. You know what I mean? Like, they want to take us back to that, where everybody is hiding who they are, and just, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, Mr. White Man, no, Mr. Thank you for my check, Mr. White Man. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. That's what it was. So, yes, he learned how to survive the way he learned how to survive, and you know, for all the negativity that is, like, he was a positive light for the artistic community. And this documentary was real pretty about it. It was real nice. It was a real nice tribute. So they talked to like Paul McCartney, Tom Jones pops up, Billy Porter is in there a lot. Let's see who else. Oh, so Valerie June plays let me double check. There was Valerie June played a song. It was Corey Henry played a song, and Tamar Kali played music. They were the ones that were singing, that were playing like the different songs and interpreting like the way. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. That was neat. It was different. Like, when I saw it at first, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you know, it grew on me. It grew on me. I
Yeah.
was like, no, like they're there because they loved him. So that was a very cool thing. Let's see. I mean, it didn't show. It just showed at Sundance, so like it didn't get like a huge like box office thing or anything like that. Rotten Tomatoes, it's like a 7.8 out of 10. That's what everybody kind of gives it. 96 are positive reviews, so people love it. People love it. It's got some good like reviews here on Letterboxd. I like the picture that they used on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, that's a cool.
I like how Chew and Enrique's like, I was just beautiful. I loved that. And it's like, I was just, and then other people think he was beautiful.
Yes.
Like
His band, we were just beautiful.
Yeah.
We just wanted, and he taught them to be beautiful. He taught them to, that's what I loved it. I love that they were just like, we're gonna rock and roll, and I'll have my little
look
compact.
beautiful doing it.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, and like, yeah, I don't know. That was cool too. Like I like that he did the thing. Like he performed so much and met so many people that he like knew what he wanted when it was time to start branching out as himself. You know what I mean? Like he's like, hey, I know that drummer guy. Like I'm gonna ask this drummer guy because I like this guy. Hey, I know that guy, that rhythm section because I played with them doing this and that. You know what I mean? Like he found his people. Everybody stuck with him. You know what? That was fucking cool. That was just fucking cool. He missed the inaugural induction of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he was in an accident, and they talked about how that affected like how he felt. That was a very sad moment for him. Things like that. It was another little kind of chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, like fuck.
Yeah. I like how he called himself. I guess I'll leave off. I like how he called himself the architect.
Yeah.
Like he is the architect. Like he was the framework from which rock and roll was built on. He is, yeah, that is very much so. Like he's the foundation, very much. Yeah, I mean, he was introduced to drugs at some point. He had a drug problem. He had to get out of that. There was that. They talked about there was a bunch of orgies.
Yeah, he was like everybody, and it was just like it was no big thing because it was like everybody wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Like you wanted to go. Like nobody cared. Everybody wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Like.
Bring me my mirror suit. I wrote, bring me my mirror suit. Yeah. He's awesome. He was awesome. I talked about the first time we saw this on a Monster of the Week, like a little bit. I talked about this documentary, but I'm glad we rewatched it. The soundtrack is out there. The Little Richard, I Am Everything. It has his hit. It's got Good Golly Miss Molly. It's got Tutti Frutti, Long Tall Sally, Lucille, Bama Lama Bamaloo. I love Tutti Frutti, Long Tall Sally, Ready Teddy. Like how it's like that. You know what I mean?
Ready Teddy.
I want to make a song called Righty Tighty. That's what I want to make a song called, Righty Tighty. It's also got the performances by Valerie June and the other performers and Corey Henry and such. It's out there. You were listening to Little Richard.
Yeah, like, Pandora.
On Pandora. Yeah. Any final words on this?
Watch the documentary.
The soundtrack's cool. It's not like the Moon Age Daydream soundtrack where you listen to it and you could see the movie. Nothing like that.
Yeah, this one's not one of those where you could like let it play in the background. No. But it's a lot of good information.
It's a lot of good information. Very, very good rock doc. Very good tribute. Even with the warts, like he was still a good guy.
Yeah,
like, he was still somebody to look up to.
For sure.
Love you, Little Richard. Rest in power. Your legacy will live on through rock and roll. And especially as we fight for queer rights in this day and age. Free Palestine, guys. Free Palestine. And protect trans kids, guys. Protect trans kids. Things are fucking crazy right now. Things are fucking crazy. Well, as we wrap up, fascism is here. So we are all here together. If you listen to us, you are in our community, and we all just need to kind of stick together and like connect with each other, continue to build community with each other, reconnect with people, things like that. I want to go out to more shows. I want to start going out to more shows and just reconnecting with that community because I know that it's a rough time. It's about to be rougher, and we just got to push through and stuff. But I'm glad that we have this community through our podcast, and like our friends are listening and stuff. Thank you guys very much. We know that you know that we're here for you as well. Let's see the links in the thing in the show notes. We got shirts and Casey Deep Cuts a bag. We got Deep Cuts bag tote. So we got those stuff. We got those stuff. The Depop shop. You can click on the link for the Depop shop, and I'm always updating. I'm always like, I'm putting a bunch of books up right now. There's some good books that I got that I think that deserve other homes. And the Depop, I don't know, it's popping. The Depop is popping. I'm very excited about that. Thank you you guys very much. You can always visit our Ko-Fi page if you would be so inclined to tip us. Whatever you want, it's there. It's also in the links. What else? JJCaballero.com. My music is out. My EP is out. I'm actually going to put more stuff out just as we go along with this because, whatever. I'm just going to start putting music out. Yeah. Deep Cuts. It's there. It's hanging out. It's looking. We've got Casey's. She got her cuttings done, and she made her little propagation wall.
I did make my propagation wall in between clients.
How many clippings did you put up?
At least 20.
Cool. That's cool. That's awesome.
It's like right there where all the sun hits by the door.
Also, I didn't say this up top, but thank you guys for listening through to this because this is an unedited episode. I'm making minimal edits because I didn't make my fucking notes today. So minimal edits.
I don't feel like you're going to need to.
I don't think so. We had a pretty good conversation about this. Yeah, we had a pretty cool flowing conversation. It's because it was easy. Little Richard rocks. Yeah, Little Richard rocks. But yeah, if you go to Casey's shop, say hi to the propagation wall, say hi to the planties.
Check out the rose bushes.
Check out the rose bushes outside.
Oh, the rose bushes.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool. The weather is being weird.
Yeah, like we went from 90 degrees. We're going to go back down to 60 degrees by Saturday.
It's crazy as fuck. Arizona was just hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona was hot. Got a chance to jump in the pool out. A Mill and the Sniffers were awesome. A Mill and the Sniffers were super awesome.
They were so good.
So good. Next week, I believe we're doing the Nina Simone episode, that documentary, because I want to refigure my idea for the decline of Western civilization, since that's like a 3-part documentary. But yes, I believe we'll be doing the Nina Simone documentary, because I think you'll like that one a lot. I think you will. I don't think you've seen that one yet.
I haven't.
No. Yeah, any last words? Thank you guys very much, and we will listen to you later.